Welcome to the Conversation Global Network family. Welcome where all your possibilities are endless. Welcome to the world's center stage of the Conversation Motivational Hour, the Conversation Motivational Date Night, the Conversation Motivational Small Business Community, the Conversation Small Merchandise Craving. Welcome to the Conversation Zero to Hero TV family, our tribe, our community, and our village. Our love language is value. Our mantra is value. Come on to the world center stage of the Conversation Global Network family.
Life have certain things that have to bear the condensation that will bring out of you what you need to be because of what comes with it.
Welcome to the conversation where words have power to unite us all. Are you passionate about literature? Do you find solace and inspiration within the pages of a book? Then we invite you to join our global community of readers in our Conversation Book Club. Whether you're in Guyana or anywhere else in the world, our book club offers a space of meaningful dialogue, discovery, and connection. Together, we explore the depths of storytelling, share insight, and celebrate the beauty of diverse perspectives. Led by Pastor Seon Rodney and Pastor J.D. Prasad, our book club fosters an environment of respect, empathy, and understanding. They invite you to join them on this enriching journey. To become a part of our vibrant community, simply reach out to Pastor Seon Rodney at 678-770-0430 or Pastor J.D. Prasad at 592-662-9844. Let's embark on a shared adventure through the world of literature, because in the Conversation Book Club, every voice matters.
The Conversation Motivational Hour with your host, Minister Seon Rodney. The Conversation. Thank you for watching the Conversation Motivational Hour. We love you and cannot wait to see you in person. The Conversation Motivational Hour with your host, Minister Seon Rodney. The Conversation. Thank you for watching the Conversation Motivational Hour. We love you and cannot wait to see you in person.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, each and every one of you. Good night, tribe, good night, community, good night, village. Good night, good night, good night, good night, good night, good night. Welcome to the Conversation Motivational Hour with yours truly, SGGR, Seon Gregory Gomes Rodney. Welcome. Our love language is simply value. We value you. We come with the nuggets. You value us. That you stop by. We're asking you tonight for one of the simplest pleasantry, and that is to share this podcast near and further afield. I have with me tonight the amazing, the beautiful, God's handmaid, precious gem, in the personage of Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. She's going to be my co-host tonight. And I trust that tonight you will be able to move from your zero to hero moment. I trust that tonight you're going to be able to live your level 3 life. You're going to be able to live your Zoe life, the God life, not existing. Because tonight we're going to be chopping it up. We're going to be 10 toes down dealing with finances. And finances, if you understand, major more in the Bible than even healing. Because your healing cannot be sustained if you don't understand to deal with your finances. So tonight we're going to be chopping it up with the finance, and no better person that we can use tonight to bring the nuggets that we all need. It's someone that is trained, someone that is professional, someone that is licensed, someone know the financial language, and any one of us know tonight, and that in the personage of Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. Tonight, Carmen, the pleasure is mine to welcome you to the conversation platform, which you overheard in the preambles that our love language is value. So, welcome to the Value Podcast. Welcome to our tribe. Welcome to our village. And welcome to our community. Our tribe and our village is very huge. It's humongous. It's big. It's gigantic. Why do I say that? You have the Conversation Motivational Hour, Conversation Motivational Date Night, the Conversation Zero to Hero TV family. You have the Conversation Small Business Community, and not forgetting the Conversation Together We Rise Ministry in Guyana. So therefore, it's a one-stop place. This is the Walmart of social media. With that being said, you're on to something great. And I know tonight you will not change the forest, but you will change the mindset of one tree. With that being said, the privilege of mine to hand over to you, no other than our beautiful Carmen Boss Lady Bernard.
Thank you, thank you, thank you. Thank you for welcoming me to your tribe to share value. And that's what I do. So I would say in that area, I fit right in, to be able to share value. And although I deal with finances, I talk with people about lots of different parts of finances. Tonight, I'm going to focus more on one, but if you can feel free to ask me any questions from your audience, and I will do my best to answer. So my name is Carmen Bernard. I'm the founder and CEO of Big Facts, LLC. Big Facts is an acronym for Bernard Insurance Group, Financial and Consulting Services. And what we do here is we help individuals and families to protect their income, to eliminate debt, to reduce taxes, to create tax-free retirement, and to build generational wealth. And, over the years as a financial coach, these are the things that I help people to do. I specialize in retirement planning, estate planning. I even help people to start their own businesses, whether it's in taxes and now in student loan advocacy. So tonight, I want to focus on one of the most pressing financial challenges that we face, and that is affecting millions and millions of Americans. I know we have audience from Guyana here, but we might have some people that are in Guyana right now just visiting, but they are here in the United States and they're also facing debt, or they have family members that are here in the United States. And if they're not tuned in, you want to make sure that they get this information. So share it, tell somebody, tell a friend to tell a friend. But we have over 1.6 trillion in debt. Let me make sure I had that number right. See, what happened is during COVID, after COVID, now 2020 to now, we didn't pay attention to our student loans, right? Because there was a pause. Many people got thrown into all sorts of different forbearances, and we were all happy, right? Because we didn't have to pay it. But all we did was kick the stone down the road. And guess what? The pandemic pause is over. And it's really and truly a time for us to pay attention to our student loans, because this is going to affect us. It's going to affect us building wealth, right? It's going to affect us purchasing homes. It's going to affect us planning for our retirement. We do not want to get to 70 and 75 years old. And there are already some people that are 70 and 75 that have retired with student loan debt, and it's not going away. And if your loans are in default, they're coming for you. They're going to take your taxes. That's the first thing that's going to happen. And then by later on this year, they're going to start garnishing your wages. So it's something for us to really and truly take a look at. And when they garnish wages, they come with a vengeance. So it's important that now that this pandemic pause is behind us, that we once again pay attention and face the reality of monthly payments, making sure we're not in default, making sure we understand the complexity of forgiveness. Because you know what? There are many people that are going to listen to me tonight that qualify for forgiveness, but they don't know that they qualify for forgiveness. So tonight, I am here to help to change some people's lives.
So with that being said, money have its own voice. Money have an emotion. Money also have feelings. And how you treat money, that's how money respond to you tonight. So you're going to walk us through with your experiences where we fail to give that hand of emotion to money, that feeling to money, and give the attention that money deserves. That we can change the course. There is a statistic that came out 4 years ago. I don't know what it is today, but 4 years ago in the Integrity of Truth, that the average person in America, mostly being married, does not have $500 US dollars in their savings. And that's a proven fact 4 years ago. I don't know what it is now. But because that is your forte, walk us through and let me see the importance not to eat the fruit and throw away the seed, but the importance of the seed that will always have an harvest. Talk to us tonight. You're muted.
I must have touched something. No, but it's absolutely true that statistic is correct as of today. Most Americans do not have $400 for in their emergency fund in the event an emergency comes up, whether it's the refrigerator breaking down, whether it's your car tires, whether it's a medical emergency, whatever it is, we don't have $400. And the thing about it is because, we're always we're living in the now, in the present. We don't have the time to, or the wherewithal, or even understand how to get from where we are in this cycle where we're just going around and around and around to be able to look toward the future. And the other thing that you said is that, money is very emotional. And most of the decisions that we make, we make with emotions. That's the reason why you can have someone that go down to a car dealership to look at some cars, or to pick up a magazine from the car and come back with a car, right? Regardless or not of if they could actually really afford that, because we live in the society of, credit, and if you can, and even people with bad credit can get a car. You're just going to pay a whole lot more interest. You're going to pay a whole lot more. You're going to be, paying $800 and $900 a month for a Toyota Corolla, as opposed to someone else with great credit who can pay for a top of the line car and walk out without making any payments, or walk out with 2% interest as opposed to 30% interest. But here's another thing. If we have to pay our student loans and we're trying not to get into default and things like that, that could be another reason why. That's another reason why you'll hear many people say, I can't save. I do not have the money to save, right? So tonight, if I can help just one or two people to understand that they do qualify for student loan forgiveness, they can be able to put that money towards saving. They can be able to put that money towards retirement, right?
There is a person who says, can we interact while we go along also with our audience?
Oh, yeah, of course.
Because we are the family, man. We are the family. We're going to be 10 toes down tonight. We're going to be rocking because we have a wealth of knowledge and experience in the studio tonight. And Dr. Majid Smith says we must learn to plan, budget, and spend wisely, which you said. She said many are living beyond their means. That's why they lack saving. And she said, I think all believers meaning church, right? believers in the Lord and Savior Jesus Christ, I think all believers need to research and take the Dave Ramsey course and call financial peace because it's based on biblical principle.
I mean, I absolutely agree. Listen, there are many things that I disagree with Dave Ramsey with, right? And that's only because I don't think that Dave Ramsey gives the full story. He is sponsored by someone and he is selling a product. And however, many of the um, foundational things that he tells us to do are absolutely important. Understanding, number one, not living beyond your means. So she's absolutely right. Number two, budgeting, telling our money where to go. Many of us wonder where our money went at the end of the month because we are not telling our money where to go. It has energy. We have to tell it where to go. And we have to, set up priorities and come up with spending plans or whatever so that we're able to do what we are able to do. But many of us are living beyond our means. Many of us um, do what we see in front of us right now. So this bill is due right now. I'm going to pay this bill right now, but it doesn't worry. It's not, we don't know about what's coming tomorrow or what's coming the next day or what, because we do not have a plan for our money, you know. But any questions come in, we will definitely address them, or comments come in, we'll definitely address them. But I really and truly wanted, although there's a wide array of topics that I cover on finance, I really and truly wanted to talk about student
This,
loan.
this is what caught my eyes, right?
Mm-hmm.
He also teaches not to live off a credit card, which you're gonna get into. A credit card is one voice speak louder than your needs, because
Mm-hmm.
it speak to your wants and not your needs. But you're gonna deal with that part, and not to keep up with the Joneses. That make me laugh because we are from. I think you're from Guyana, right?
Mm-hmm.
I'm from Guyana, and I heard this since I was a child, but I never grasped the full concept until I become a teenager. And I
Mm-hmm.
end up with all I had the knowledge of what keep up with the Joneses when I actually fall into the step of the Joneses until I retrain, refocus, recalibrate my mind. That now I'm a different person. So that caught my mind. So you can continue tonight.
Yeah, we keep up with the Joneses with everything. Let me tell you, we keep up with the Joneses not just on, in Guyana, it used to be if your neighbor bought this or whatever, but we keep up with the Joneses here for everything, whether it's putting our kids in the best preschool because our friend got their kid in that preschool, whether it's putting our kids in wrestling, football, whatever. Not that those things do not matter, but sometimes that's beyond the scope of your budget, but we want to do it. But it's sending our kids to a college that they really and truly cannot afford. Like, what difference does it make if that child went to a state college right here to get a degree in business administration, as opposed to going to another state and paying double and triple the price for a same degree in business administration? We have to make it make sense. Unless that school in the other state was going to be paying 100% full ride, it doesn't make sense. And even because I can speak, look, my children are grown now, right? They're all out of school and they're all saddled with student loan debt, just like even me. I am working through my student loan debt. But some of the things that I found as I am working through my student loan debt that surprised me can help others, and that's why I'm sharing my story. But my kids are out of college. I am going to be able to show them how they navigate this world of student loan debt, because there are, when you're dealing with the government, it's always different things, always something. You might know this, but you don't know this, and not knowing the entire thing or keeping up with the entire thing can cost you thousands and thousands of dollars, which basically affects your wealth, right? Even my grandson, he was awarded thousands of dollars to go to a school in another state. But when you compare that still with if he went to a state school, it would cost a lot less money. So these are things that we have to be talking about and stuff like that. So As I said earlier, the current state of student loans, we have people 1.6 over 1.6 trillion dollars of debt, right? And the whole thing, the whole student loan thing is very confusing. There's lots of misinformation and there's lack of advocacy. Ask anyone right now to call their student loan servicer. They're staying on hold for hours on end. And so all of that leads to people more frustration with people, and they leave these student loans alone. But listen, in this season, we cannot do that. Especially, everybody knows what happens on Monday, right? We have a new change of administration, and they are not in favor of any type of student loan forgiveness. Now, there was an article out there. How much? I think it's more than $500 million, and how many thousands of people that the current administration has helped to get to forgiveness. And it's not that some of those things weren't already in place, but they were not carrying it out how it was supposed to be carried out. And this administration fought their best to make sure these things happen, so that many people are now seeing their loans forgiven and things like that. And I'm going to talk about the different programs under which you can possibly get your loans forgiven, or how you can be able to set up your loans to be forgiven. But with the new administration that's coming in, we already know that they are not in favor of forgiveness. They want to close down the Department of Education because of whatever agenda. Go read Trump 45 agenda. But that is going to, if the Department of Education closes down, it's not like this can't be done. He was in before, and he closed down a certain section, a certain department before that adversely affected millions of people when it came to student loans. So he can do it again, and he can do that by a pen. He doesn't have to go through Congress. So this is the reason why it's imperative for people to act quickly, because like he said, he's going to be doing things on day one. He gets in there on day 2, on day 3, on day 90. So it's important to get in contact with someone so that they can help you to navigate these student loans and things like that. One of the things that people need to understand, especially if they're looking to for forgiveness, they have to make sure they have the right type of loan, right? Like, what type of loan do you have? And does that type of loan qualify for forgiveness? And if you have a loan that does not qualify for forgiveness, what can you do to get it to where it qualifies for forgiveness? Understanding the difference between private loans and federal loans. And by the way, y'all, you can call me. I'm helping you with federal loans. We can't do anything about private loans right now. Except for if you go to my page. By the way, I'm Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. You can go on my page. You can find previous lives, or go to my YouTube. You'll see where I talked about, there was one specific thing that happened earlier this year. I think it was like in September, that could have affected or helped anyone that had a private student loan. But that's a story for another time. But understanding the type of loan that you have is important. Understanding the payment plan that you're in. There's some that does not qualify for forgiveness. And if that's your path to getting rid of these loans, you need to know what type of repayment plan you should be in, or you should choose. You should also know what things prevent you from getting towards student forgiveness, forbearance, deferment, and things like that. So understanding that, if there's any person that's listening to me, and you were a teacher, you were a firefighter, you were any kind of public service job that you have done, and you have not done a form, completed some forms that will help to get you towards student loan forgiveness, you need to be in contact with me so that I can help you with that. I myself, I'm a retired teacher. I taught for several years in the public school system right here in Georgia. And I attempted to get student loan forgiveness because there's so many different paths, and got frustrated because, they told me, oh, I couldn't get it because I needed to be in this sort of school, I needed to be teaching this, I need all sorts of different things. Well, rules have changed, people, and I am on my way to student loan forgiveness. So within the next 2 months, 2 to 3 months, I want you to look for me jumping up, screaming and yelling and praising God because mine is gone. The thing is, people have so much student loans. I mean, student loans from in the hundreds of thousands of dollars, over $500,000, $800,000, $1 million in student loans. This is what we are actually seeing. That's why I'm like excited for somebody who calls me with $30,000 in student loans. I want to say, yay, you don't have student loans with $30,000. But those are some of the things. So understanding the different paths to forgiveness, whether it's the public service loan forgiveness, whether it's teacher loan forgiveness, whether it's the borrower's defense, the repayment. Some of you may have gone to schools that there is that says that those schools did some very bad things, and those people qualify to get their loans totally forgiven, totally wiped away. And so you might be sitting there, one, struggling to pay a loan that you're not even supposed to have. You would think that they would just, if they found that out, they would just go back and cancel all of them. But no, they don't do that. You got to keep up with what's going on and work within the system that's there right now in order to be able to be on the path to forgiveness. So that's there. That can be canceled at any moment. So we at least want to make sure you can see if that affects you, and if you can get into that program before they stop it, and maybe at least the people who are already in there will be grandfathered in. So it's important for you to know that. It's important for you to know which income-driven payments are able to afford you or get you closer towards forgiveness. And an example of what I said about them not telling you anything. There was actually a program that ended in October of last year. I think it began like in 2022, which was the Fresh Start program. And that's for people who were in default. And that allowed them to wipe that totally off of their credit, get a fresh start. But if you didn't do it, it's gone. And that program is now closed. So now you need to work with someone to help you to get through a default, right? And there are only two ways to get through default. You could be rehab, or there's consolidation. And if you do not have anything to consolidate because you already consolidate, then that's not going to help. You're going to have to go through rehab. And if you're in default, and people, if you're in default, you want to call, because don't file your taxes. I'm telling you right now, do not file your taxes, because your refund will be gone.
With that being said, if you want to call in, the number to call is 678-770-0430. Once again, the number to call is 678-770-0430. Dr. Jesus Smith is saying, do they give credit for those who in a public service from 2017? That's a question.
Absolutely, they do. So that public service is going back. If you've been in public service for 5 years, 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, we're going back to 2007 that they're giving credit for people in public service. But you need to make sure that all the I's are dotted and all the T's are crossed, right? If you're trying to see if you qualify for public loans, for public student loan forgiveness, do you have the right type of loan, or can we do something to get your loan to be the right type so that you can be able to be on that path to forgiveness? But yes, they are giving credit going back. People are still getting credit going back. Some of my clients are coming in and completing one form, and getting 118 months, 108 months of credit towards that 10 years, which is 120 months. And so there's a light at the end of the tunnel, and it's not a train. It's not a train. It's a real light at the end of the tunnel.
So people, you're entitled. Find where you could be able to go and get help for your entitlement for your student loan forgiveness. And also, Carmen Boss Lady Bernard is a professional, as I said in the preambles of the show. She is trained, she is a professional, and she is also licensed. No better place to be than to have contact with her. She's going to walk you through with a plethora of experiences that she has that you can garner. Who don't want to have some money back as reserve for the rainy day? I certainly do. But for me, I'm currently in Penn Foster, but I pay for mine as I go. So I'm not bound to student loan. But with that being said, if you have student loans carried around, reach out to Carmen, Boss Lady Bernard. She's going to tell you how to contact her, how to meet her, and she will be able to walk through you. Of course, depending upon your situation, there is a fee, but I guess you may have a 10 cent. We have a 10 cent or a quarter. If you use this show that I heard from the Conversation platform, I will have a discount of a 10 cent or a quarter from our fee. With that being said, continue.
Well, anyone who wants to reach out to me can actually reach out to me for a 15-minute discovery call, and that's free, a free 15-minute discovery call, so that we can see, kind of see where you are and kind of put you on a path to see if there's something that I can do to help you with student loan forgiveness. And imagine today having, 200,000, 250,000, a mortgage basically, and having that being gone in months or in a few years. And even if you're new, you're just coming out, what things can you do to set up? We want to put ourselves on a path where we're paying as little money as possible to our student loans, and especially for those of us who have been serving, who have been giving back to the community. One of the things that I hear a lot of times is that, oh, you guys went and take out this loan, so now you don't want to pay it. But for public servants like us, teachers and firefighters and nurses and doctors, that go into public service, we're taking lower pay than people who would normally go into the private sector. And this is a way to kind of even the bar up. Student loan forgiveness is available to you, because most of you do it not because
and the number to call is 678-770-0430. You can call into the studio. I know we have lost Carmen Boss Lady Bernard because of our internet situation, but she will be back shortly. But tonight I want you to understand the importance of having your finances up on 10, because your finances is one of the part that speak for you. When you are not speaking, your finances is speaking. And I want to let you know, money have a voice. Money has a voice. Money has the potential to grow as your mindset is growing. And I want you to see the importance for you to live in the Zoe life, the God life, for you to live in the abundance that God set forth for you to live. Because there are more scriptures coming from the spiritual content, talk about blessing more than even healing. Because when you understand how to deal with your financial situation, you can able to deal with the spiritual application. For example, tomorrow is Sunday. Because I am a Christian, I'm a Pentecostal pastor, I'm a Pentecostal minister, I'm a part of the Pentecostal fraternity, Pentecostalism, and I know that we have various facets of Pentecostalism, many facets of Christendom, and because of that, many people are going to be worshiping tomorrow. But as sad to say, I'm not showing this shades of gray, But sad to say, you were there present physically, but your mind is not there holistically because your mind is thinking about it's about to be mortgage time. It's about to be the car note time. It's about to be the child daycare to be paid for, or when the child support come out of your pay, you work less, and so therefore you were there in the presence of the Lord, but your mind is not there. Your body, like last night, Carmen, I was speaking about your body in the grave, but your mind is out of the grave. It takes your mind to pull your body into where you should be. So tonight, having Carmen with us, she's helping you that your mind do not stay in the grave. You're enamored in depression. You're enamored in sleepless night because financial constraint. You're financially embarrassed. You're financially under the weather. You have you're anemic financially and all these kind of stuff. You understand what I'm saying? Your blood count financially low. You're loveless because of financial taking you downward spiral. Tonight, we want your mind to pull you out of that grave. When Carmen finished, walk us through the plethora of the financial acumen that she garnered from studying, you're going to recognize you're not going to only now come out of the grave, but you're going to speak now to the grave clothing, to loose me, and you surely will be free tonight. Carmen, over to you.
I apologize. I don't know what happened. The computer went bloop.
It's okay.
Listen, when we're trying to get out information, the devil's in the midst trying to mess up everything. But guess what? It's not going to win. He's not going to win. Yes. So I'm not even sure where I was.
But
What
why
I was.
that to garner your thoughts? We have from the comment Dr. Majida Smith. She is saying, I want an education so I cannot regret in taking out a loan. So she want to know more about, how she can even not regret taking out a loan tonight.
Not sure I understand the question. She said what? Just repeat that what she said.
I wanted an education, so I have no regret. Oh, she wanted an education, she had no regret taking out a loan. That's what she said.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's awesome. And that many of us, that's what we do because we want to be able to further ourselves to do certain things. So we end up taking out loans and the problem with the student loans is not just the fact that people take them out and it's not that people don't want to pay it back, is that many people are finding themselves in the position that after 12 years of paying, they owe more than the initial amount that they borrowed. So something has to be done about that. You understand? And that's where many people would be able to pay off their student loans and have no problem doing that. But the interest that's compounded, right? If you follow me or if you hear me speak, I talk about one of those initial concepts that we should learn about, which is the rule of 78, right? And the rule of 72. I misspoke. Sorry, the rule of 72. And that's understanding how long it will take to double your money at what interest rate, right? At a given interest rate, how long will it take to double your money? Well, even though we're looking at that for us, we also need to look at that on the other side, because when you have an interest rate on debt, that's how long you can use the rule of 72 to calculate how long that debt will take to double. And that is why we have people that start out with one amount in student loans, they are paying on it, and yet after a certain amount of years, their balance is more than when they started, because they may have doubled, or they may have almost double based on the interest rate that they're paying. So for an example, if you had a 1% interest rate, right, it would take 72 years to double. Now, most people could pay off their student loans if they only had a 1% interest rate, because by the time it gets to 72 years, they would have already paid that off, depending on whatever circumstances, whether they took some time off from paying it, whether they put it in forbearance and this and that. But for most of them, that would happen. But if you have a 10% interest rate, that that balance is going to double in a little bit over 7 years.
Carmen, we have Yolanda Canela says, is there help for credit card debt? I think after you spoke about the Rule 72, it sparked something into her mind, and she just get into, the credit card aspect of the financial debt.
Yeah, so one of the things that I talk about is how you can get out of debt in 9 years or less using the same amount of money that you have right now without putting additional things. So some people, what they're doing in order to get out of debt is they'll pay more on their more than the minimum, which you have to pay more than the minimum in order to get out of debt. However, there's some strategies that you can actually do that will allow you to pay the minimum on your debt and redirect the rest of the money so that it can be doing something else. It can be working for you so that you can now pay off the credit card debt. So the lady earlier talked about Dave Ramsey, and he talks about this. He didn't invent this, but he talks about the snowballing method. So one of the things that you can do, that people can do, is to first list all the debt out, make sure they know what's the interest rates that they're doing, make sure that they're not being late, at least paying minimum and that minimum amounts, and choose one debt to concentrate on. So they would either choose the one with the highest interest rate, or they would choose the one with the lowest amount of balance. And you will put as much money as you can toward that debt to get rid of it. Now, once that debt is gone, let's say you were initially paying $100 toward that particular debt, and you decided to pay $500 toward that particular debt. When that debt is gone, the entire $500 needs to go to the next debt. The entire $500 plus whatever you were paying on the next debt will go. So it gets a snowball method as it gets bigger and bigger. And we keep throwing it at the debt until the debt disappears. Now, what I do is do the snowball method on steroids, because not only are we just taking money that comes into our wallets, you get it from the job, you take it and you send it right back out, but we are taking the money and putting it someplace to work for you. And then you use that money from there to pay down debt. But when you use the money from there, it is still growing for you. If you remember what I taught you about the rule of 72, that money is still growing. And now we can really and truly eliminate debt. So if someone wants to know more about that, they can also contact me. If they go to Carmen10k.com, they can click on my calendar and schedule a 15-minute call. So I'm going to leave it with use that. It's Carmen10k.com. Carmen10, the number 10, k.com. But that's what I could say for student loan. I mean, for credit card debt. If you have to do it on your own, I kind of talked to you a little bit about the snowball method. And if you are able, if you want us to really sit down and see what you can do, and sometimes it may mean bringing in a little extra income. And if you want to know how to bring in a little extra income, I'm the person to talk to show you how you can do what I do to bring in a little extra income so that we can now redirect that money to really and truly work for us and get us to eliminate debt.
So we call that streams of income. So if you want to up the ante in having streams of income, we all are familiar with the terminology that say make money while you're sleeping. In my first phraseology course, that's the first thing. It is funny. I like money, right? And the first phrase we learned in phraseology, make money while you're sleeping.
Everybody likes it.
Want to make money while you're sleeping, contact Carmen Boss Lady and she will help you well on your way to have this extra stream of income. While probably you probably just pay off your backlog of child support. Is one way you can do is to increase the amount of money in your 401k. Got the money already accustomed to let it go, or you increase the money in your Roth IRA account. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Because if you take the money because you paid off and now you're back on track, you will take it to McDonald's, you'll take it to KFC, you're gonna take it to Starbucks and such like. With that being said, tonight the number to call into the studio is 678-770-0430. Over to you, Carmen. You can help people to understand what they can do with the excessive use of the fund. I have another note taken here. After taking the Dave Ramsey class last year, I closed 2 credit cards immediately. I dropped my entire income tax refund to both and closed them. It was such a great relief and accomplishment for me. I keep my bank card only for emergency only.
Congratulations to you for doing that. And that's a good thing to do. Let me tell you, retail people that hold debt around this time between now and a little bit between March and April, that's the best time for them, because what do? We take our tax refunds and we go pay off debt. And they love that, because you know what that does? That clears up more space for us to go keep spending, because that's what we typically do. We do not stop the cycle, right? We do not take that money and redirect it to building wealth. We are like, ooh, I just cleared up $500. That's an extra $500 a month. That's my spending money. And that's what we do. So it all begins with mindset. We have to change our mindset when it comes to money, right? And that's why that all begins. There's several steps. There are a couple of steps that you have to take if you want to be able to change your mindset about money. And the number one thing is education. That's the first thing. Understanding about money, understanding how money works, understanding how to put money to work for you, understanding that if you start when you are 20 and you put consistently putting up $250 a month, you are going to save, you are going to have more money than the person who waits until they're 50 and put $1,000 a month up. These are the things that we have to understand about the time value of money, the rule of 72, getting educated regarding how money works, and then understanding the steps to take. The very first step, the very next step after you get an education about money is not paying off debt. It's not starting to save. It is, and you can do this all at the same time, it is protecting your income. It's protecting you, because if something happens to you, you are that money machine. So if you go away, then all the things that you were going to do with that money goes away. You can't pay any of the mortgage. You can't pay the car. You can't pay the phone bill. You cannot put any money in savings. You cannot put money. So the second thing is income protection. And next is when we will start building that emergency fund. Everybody's like, oh no, let's pay off that. No, when you have to start building the emergency fund. And like I said, a lot of these steps can be done together. But even if it's $5 a month, $5 a pay period that you have to take out, you take that out first and put it into and then you think. Following, there are lots of different things about, the 50-30-20 rule for budgeting, but making sure that you have that budget, making sure that you stick to that budget, making sure that you really understand what you're doing, because your decisions today, your actions today is what protects you tomorrow. And your future you is depending on your future you is dependent on you today, the actions that you take today. And that's why I wanted to talk about student loans, because there's some actions that you have to take today with your student loans, which will adversely, if you don't, would adversely affect you in the future when it comes to buying a home, when it comes to investing. What? I mean, investing, being able to invest, being able to invest in real estate, being able to invest in crypto, being able to invest in all of these things. If we do not do this, right, it affects if we do not do one thing, it affects the other.
And that is so important in and you're talking about the decision making. Carmen, and I had a problem as a Christian, more so emerging to leadership since I was 17. 17, 16, I get saved according to the church language. And 17, I get really into full-blown leadership. 16, actually, I was thrown quickly into leadership. So you can guess I have a great wealth of leadership experience and dealing with the church genre and the church language. And I had a problem with the naming and claiming. The naming and claiming. It really worked for me. Oh, you go, you see a house that you like, so you name it and you claim it, Go to the car lot and you name and you claim. But in reality, until I get to the maturity of what you said just now, the knowledge, garnering the knowledge, which is wisdom, to do and to know, that the word of God helped me to understand that money answereth all things. So when I name and I claim and I got still come with the money. And that depends upon the decisions that I am making. So I can name and claim, but if I don't make the right decision, I cannot be a recipient because I don't have the thing that answer the thing.
Yep, I hear you.
I'm naming, I'm claiming, I'm speaking, but something need to go with what I'm speaking.
Right. I mean, faith without works is dead. You have to do the work. Listen, he shows us what to do. He tells us what to do, but we got to do it. But you got free will. You don't have to. It's all up to you.
Some have named and claimed and it got repo.
Yep, I hear them.
Wisdom is a principal thing. And wisdom is so important that we have to operate in the scope of knowledge, wisdom, all in compilation to make you the greater person. And I hear what you said about the decision you make will affect your tomorrow. And many times some of us tell ourselves, well, we have time on our side for the now. We have youth on our side, we have health on our side, and so many things going for us. What is working for today is certainly going to work for tomorrow. But none of us, these things are the same, are not really realistically guaranteed. Because you can wake up tomorrow and your whole life is too upside down, you know what I mean? You can wake up tomorrow and everything gone south. And sometimes the only thing to get you back on track is when you have the thing that is a principal thing and answer it. All things. So tonight we want to thank you for coming and bringing the nuggets to us and helping us to understand the Rule 72, helping us to understand the snowballing effect and how important to make sure you give that emotion to money, give that voice to money, give that feelings to money, give that emotion to money. And we thank you, number one, to put yourself in a position that now you at a different vantage point that you can see what you didn't saw 10, 15, 20 years ago. And you can help us now to pull ourselves by our own bootstrap that we don't want to walk in shame. We don't want to be financially embarrassed. We don't want to be in the grave clothing wearing the financially and going through the turbulences and all these things of finance so we can able to reroute our decision. Tonight, I want you to spend a little more time and let us understand the importance of the seed. We already know the fruit because we all can build a hustle. We know we're going to get the fruit. You know what I'm saying? I could just take my car, turn on my Uber app and make sure I go. I mean, that's the fruit right there. You know what I mean? But then after I turn off the app and I get home, what am I going to do with the seed of that fruit? Help us tonight with your expertise tonight.
I mean, that's a good thing for us to think about. What do we do, right? And the truth of the matter is, what you just said is, we are all, a lot of us can make the money. Can we keep the money? Can we grow the money? Right? But we can make it, but it goes just as fast as they come. And like you said, we don't know what can happen tomorrow. And that's the reason why I talked about income protection, because you don't know if you walk outside and you slip on the ice and you're on your back. And I'm not into like scare tactics, but these are things that happen. You walk out, you don't know if you're going to get walk back home the same way that you left. And when we take that money and we do certain things like protecting ourselves, right? And the thing about it is that most of us do not do it because we think, oh my God, it's so expensive. And the truth of the matter is, a majority of people believe that income protection, which is life insurance, is not as expensive as you think. Matter of fact, especially those people who are saying, I'm young, I have time. Well, guess what buys you the best rate of life insurance? Your youth. Guess what is your credit for life insurance? Your health. There are people who have money, but they cannot purchase insurance. Wealthy people. And by the way, wealthy people do purchase insurance because they understand the power of leveraging other people's money and transferring risk. Why would I take on the risk when someone else is willing to take it on for me if I give them a little, right? So my 19 to 25 year olds can purchase a $500,000 policy for $20 a month, for the next 30 years. But here's the thing. That's why I said education is important, because some people, they get a policy, they may get a policy and they think that that's it. I'm done. I got insurance. Some big adults are walking around talking about, I got insurance, because their mother bought it for them when they were back as a kid with a Gerber policy, that she was paying $2.50 a month for. That's not insurance. You don't have insurance, you know. And if she did keep it up, yeah, it's a good $5,000 or $10,000. You're big and grown and you have kids. What's going to happen to your kids when something happens to you? Or what's going to happen to the parent that has to take care of your kids when something happens to you, right? So sometimes, so understanding that taking that money and putting it somewhere is important. For those of you who are doing the Uber app, Uber or whatever it is to make that money, open up a Roth is absolutely important after you have called me and got some life insurance. Because you need to protect your income. You need to protect that cash machine. I often say, if you had a machine in the basement, right, Seon, that printed money. I know how you like money, right? You told us tonight,
Yeah.
right? So you have this machine that prints money. Are you going to take care of that machine? Are you going to make sure that machine is well oiled? Are you going to make sure that you turn it? If you have a printer and you don't use it for several months and you go back to print, it's not working. The print is dry up, the dry head and stuff. But you're going to go downstairs to that basement. You're going to put in the oil. You're going to make sure that you crank it up. You're going to make sure that it's still working. Make sure all the fluids and the levels are good and everything like that. Well, you are that cash machine. You're the one that's bringing in the cash. So now you've got to take care of you. You got to protect you. Many of us protect our cell phones. All of us got insurance on our cell phones, because if this falls and break, God forbid, we have insurance on that, but we do not have insurance on ourselves. So that's the very first thing you're going to do. That's planting one seed, right? Making sure that you are, some of you, just taking a look at what you spend things on, right? The Starbucks, right? I mean, if you are spending uh what, it's like $10-15 a day, right? Five, that's like 50, so it's like $200 a month, right? That's over $2,000 a year that you're spending for Starbucks, right? So we need to look at that, look at what we're spending the money on, right? Some
Um,
of you, if you have a like a W-2 job, and like you were saying, you want to make sure that they can put more money in their 401k. I'm not a big fan of a 401k, but there's a way to use it. You want to put in up to the match. Whatever free money they're giving you, you want to put in up to the match. Then the rest of the money, you want to go ahead and pay your taxes on that and put it somewhere where it's going to be tax free to you later. Because many of you, your 401ks, you got to understand that when it's time to take it out, it turns into a 201k. It turns into a 101k because that money does not belong to you. Okay? You went into business with the government, and the government is ready to tap and say, better have my money. Give me my money.
let's talk to those who have the privilege of working what we call overtime. So I will put a cap to it in which we call uncatered for money, because over time it wasn't willing. It was demanded upon you that you work that time, and in the integrity you work that time. So I will call that money uncatered money. We can help them now to how they can able to use the uncatered money to garner other streams of income tonight.
Well, if they want to use it to garner other streams of income, but uncatered money should be budgeted just like regular money. It should, you should still budget that money. It should not be looked at as, oh, this is just extra money coming in and it has no place to go. When you don't tell your money where to go, you are going to wonder where it went. So
Oh, my God.
so you got to tell it where to go. And so the same thing still apply for that money. What at 50, 30, 20, it still applies for that. A lot of us, when we're budgeting, you also have to understand, make sure you're budgeting correctly. Like there's certain bills that don't get paid every month, but you still got to put away the money for that so that when the time comes, you're not surprised. It is not an emergency that you have to pay your annual vehicle tax. That's not an emergency. You know, that's well known. An emergency is something that you could not have foreseen as an looking at it like that, you can foresee your car tire breaking down. So you should have been planning for that. You're getting a flat or having to replace a tire because of what you should have foreseen for that. So you should have your emergency fund and your little rainy time money, right? Because so that extra money that you're bringing in should go there. Am I saying that you should not have some fun with your money? Absolutely not. You work real hard, you should have some fun. So yes, but it should be in that budget, should already be catered. You call it catered money. That the catered money should already be in the budgeted thing. Yeah.
So you're saying in the budgeting it should be a line item for entertainment.
Yes,
It should be a
absolutely.
line item for your earcut.
Yes.
Like
But
this.
exactly. But if that's not there, but if you don't have income protection in there first, and you don't have savings in there first, and you don't have, that's a problem. And the other thing we need to budget for is emotional spending, because we are going to do it. We are going to walk by somewhere and we're going to say, but it's $100, $150. I deserve that. I work hard for that. But you know what? It will make you feel even better without regrets is if you had catered for in your budget for that emotional spending.
Wow. Emotional spending. Wow. I love that. But that can overpower anything else. Because if somebody make me mad, I can turn into an emotional spendaholic.
Not if you have your mindset right. We all started this with getting your mindset right.
But
Yeah.
with that being said, Miss Carmen, Boss Lady Bernard, tell us where we can find you, where we can locate you, your phone number, your website. We have a Facebook name, your YouTube name, and we know TikTok is being challenged from tomorrow, and where we can find you, and so you can able to continue this discussion with those who really want to be 10 toes down to change the direction of the financial life. The Bible says, money answereth all things. Your emotional pain, money answer. Every other get over your trauma, money answer. Create a light item for everything when you know what to do with the seed after you eat the food. So tell us where we can find you tonight.
So that's absolutely true. Because if you have a problem that money can solve, you don't have a problem.
Oh my God.
So money, yes, it's important, right? So where can you find me? I'm on Facebook, Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. You can inbox me, send me a message, friend me because it's open. I am on Instagram, Big Facts with Carmen. I'm on YouTube, Big Facts with Carmen. TikTok, if it's still there, Big Facts with Carmen. Big Facts, uh, bigfacts.com is the website. Um, Carmen10k.com will get you to everything for me. So you go on Carmen10k.com. You can book an appointment. You can call me. You can text me. All of that on there.
So make sure you hook up with Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. She have a plethora of experience. She been walking in the financial literacy. The word sound big because the opposite to literacy is illiterate, meaning you don't know what to do in the integrity of truth to evolve. So seeing that she is financially literate tells me that she's evolving financially. She looks beautiful with her emotionally spending appetite. So tonight you can know how to have your emotionally spending fun. Hook up with Carmen Boss Lady Bernard. With that being said, on behalf of myself and the conversational platform, we want to say thank you for gracing us with your presence. I know it's your first rodeo, but I know it would not be the last. Because on behalf of myself and the platform, I want to solicit you for either the third or the last Saturday of February, closing the Black History era, for us to understand the importance of our pedigree and our ethnicity, the importance that we as a people can change the status quo beyond being a number, but we can show the number line financially. We can show the number line with the wealth pattern. We can show the number line that we are prepared to leave generational wealth, generational legacy. And while we have that, we can start trending now to generational health, because your health is your wealth. But once we get the financial things out the way, then we can deal with the health on the back end. Because the front end have to be right. Money causes you depression. Money causes you stress. Money causes you all kind of thing when it cannot meet the bar. I was there many times. You call some people, you think we call them, I'm from Guyana. I'm a Barbician. In fact, I was born in Georgetown, Carmen.
Were you? Okay.
Born in Georgetown Hospital. It's on my birth certificate. And I'm from New Amsterdam, but I grew up in a place near Liverpool, right?
Okay.
So being a Barbician, I know the stress of money when you're calling somebody there in Nancy, you call it well-to-do. You know you get little money, we know you're well-to-do. You understand? And you call no answer, you text no answer, and so on. And I know what it is to really get to a place after all that has been finished. You got pity in yourself. When you have that information available to you, you can change the course of all that I've just said, even though it was with a little humor. So tonight, once again, hook up with Carmen Boss Lady, and your life will change. Your direction will change. And you will be at an amazing trajectory. She will help you to move from renting to owning. She will help you to be on your way. That shame will be a thing of the past. Because the enemy want to shame you. But you will watch shame and say, look at me now. I have financial muscle, biceps and triceps. I have financial smile. You can see my teeth. It looks so beautiful because I rest well, because my financial game is on 10. With that being said, we have Cleveland Harlequin, and Minister Cleveland Harlequin says, a very necessary conversation. Hello, SGDR and Boss Lady.
Hey.
So tonight, let's shout out to all those who were watching. On one screen, I have Frankisha Simpson Bacchus. We have Ronette Walcott. We have Meline Phillips. We have Simonet Seeley Rodney. We have Dr. Majida Smith. We have Pastor Seon Wedland Seeley, Oliver Jones, Cleveland Harlequin, Mr. Cleveland Harlequin, Ryan Rollins.
Oh, hey to everybody. Hey, Pastor Seeley.
So with that being said, I'm going to solicit you back to him, Black History Month, because we have to change the trending thought. We have to change the status quo. And every one of us is going to come on that night with our I factor, with saying that it begins with I. When you finish, then we're going to say it begins with me. And at the conclusion, you're going to begin with myself. And with that being said, we want to thank you for taking time off of your busy schedule, marking your calendar to be with the Conversation platform.
Well, thanks for having me.
Stay backstage just 3 minutes with me.
Okay.
Family.
Thank you. Good night. Good evening.
See you tomorrow night. Same place, same time. We're going to be chopping it up tomorrow night about my reality. With no other than myself and Apostle J.D. Prasad, keeping the date night real. Have a blessed and productive night. God bless you.